Dear students and other viewers, welcome to another academic session of Narayana Engineering College, Nellore. Today, we are going to understand different topics related to Unit 3 of Professional Ethics in Engineering, a mandatory course. I am Venkateshwara, an associate professor and verbal trainer at Narayana Engineering College. In the Unit 3, we are going to discuss or know about how the engineers are responsible experimenters, and also we will understand the course of ethics and also what is the role of law in engineering. Engineers as responsible experimenters. Definitely, engineers do the work or task related to different people or groups, and sometimes they have to do new works, and while doing new works or taking up of new events or tasks, they are really experimenters. What is the general responsibility of engineering as a society? Engineers are primarily considered as technical enablers or facilitators rather than being the sole experimenters. Not only they are experimenters, they are the facilitators and also technical enablers. And engineers' responsibility is shared with management, the public, and others. That means they are also responsible for management, public, and others. Others means government. The other unique responsibility of engineers include monitoring projects. So, what are the duties or responsibilities of an engineer? Mainly monitoring projects that they have taken up, identifying risks, providing the customers and the clients the required information to make reasonable decisions. In the same way, while exercising engineering duties, the engineers should display the virtue of being morally responsible person, not only doing the task or completing the task. He must keep in mind moral responsibility. What are the general features of moral responsible engineers? What do they keep in mind? First of all, consciousness. They must be conscious. Here, consciousness means commitment to live according to certain values. Commitment to live according to certain values. That is consciousness. Already prescribed values are there, and he must keep in mind and he has to work. Engineers have to be sensitive to a range of moral values and responsibilities which are relevant in a given situation. Also, engineers should have the willing to develop the skill and apply the effort needed to reach the best balance possible among various considerations. What is the primary duty? That is, the primary duty of morally responsible engineers is to protect the safety of human beings. That is very important. They must keep in mind the safety of the human beings and also should respect their rights of consent. In the same way, consciousness is impossible without relevant factual information. That means he must have correct information. Engineers have to show the commitment to obtain and properly gauge all the information related to meeting one's moral obligations. The two general ways of losing perspective on the context of one's work are given below. So what they should do to grasp the context of one's work, one should be aware of implication of that work. To grasp the context of one's work, one should be aware of implication of that work. That means you must understand, you must be aware of total information about the task. To shift the responsibility and blames the others in the organization, it is also a wrong thing. So these two things, what they do, they make them lose perspective on the context of one's work are given below. That means it makes them lose clear cut idea about the task if they are not doing well. The moral autonomy is the ability to think critically and independently about moral issues. So you must have moral autonomy. It is nothing but thinking critically and independently about moral issues and apply this moral thinking to situations that arise during the professional engineering practice. Already we said he is an experimenter. As an experimenter, an engineer has to undergo an extensive and updated training to form his identity as a professional. There must be involvement in work. Another important matter is accountability of the engineer. Accountability is nothing but he must be answerable for his work. He must be answerable for his work. It involves a willingness to present morally convincing reasons for one's action and conduct. For one's action, that means what he did. And regarding his conduct also, he is responsible to others. But sometimes accountability gets worsened. What are the situations? Why accountability is lessened? Modern engineering projects involve teamwork. Generally, nowadays, all the projects are done by the teams. Automatically, everybody takes a small portion of accountability. In the same way, in every organization, total work or task is divided into different parts, and each person takes a part of the task. Automatically, it weakens accountability. And in the same way, preoccupation with legalities in a time of proliferating malpractice lawsuits, there may be loops in law also. So they also cause some disturbance to their work or their accountability. That's why codes of ethics were developed by the societies or unions. What are the fundamental canons? That means principles. Hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare of the public in the performance of their professional duties. That is the first point. That means they must give importance to safety, health, and welfare of the public. And they do performance only in areas of their competence. That means they should not cross their knowledge. In the same way, they should be truthful and they should act in professional matters for each employer or client as faithful agents. They must be faithful agents. And they should build their professional reputation on the merits of their services and shall not compete unfairly with others. They should act in such a manner as to uphold and enhance the honor, integrity, and dignity of the profession. That means they must keep in mind, they must be honor. They should maintain integrity and dignity in their work. Continue their professional development throughout their careers. And definitely they should keep in mind the professional development. Depending upon your discipline organizational affiliations, you may be bound by one, two, or even more ethical codes. So, what you see on the screen are different codes, standard codes. But there are certain objections to the codes of ethics. Relatively few engineers are members of engineering societies. That means all the engineers may not be the members of the societies. So it is one of the objection to existing engineering codes. Non-members don't necessarily follow the ethical codes. So if they are not members of the society, they may not follow the codes. Many engineers don't know that the codes exist. That means newcomers or new engineers are freshers to the field. They may not know that there are certain codes and they have to follow. But everybody should know there are certain principles, fundamental principles. Using their knowledge and skill for the enhancement of the human race, that is the first fundamental. Though they should use their knowledge and skill only for the benefit of the human race. Being honest and impartial and serving with the fidelity of the public, their employees and their clients. Striving to increase the competence and prestige of the engineering profession. They should not damage the prestige of the engineering profession. Supporting the professional and technical societies of their discipline. How do these codes work? They give inspiration and guidance, support to the engineers, and also prevent them from so many defaults and develop discipline in them. They give education about the work and mutual understanding of the engineers and others, contributing to the profession's public image, protecting status quo, promoting business interests. So like that, codes are also very important for the profession. But there are certain limitations to these ethics also. Codes are restricted to general and vague wording. Sometimes the wording may be vague. It may not be useful. It is easy for different classes of codes to come into conflict with each other. Sometimes one point may clash with another point. They cannot serve as a final moral authority for professional conduct. And also, the current codes are by no means perfect, but are definitely steps in the right direction. So they give just the right direction, but they may not be the strong rule. Anyway, law also helps the engineers. What is the role? What is the role of law in engineering? It is wrong to write off rule making and rule following as futile. Don't think that law is not useful. Don't think that law is not useful. Good laws effectively enforced clearly produce benefits. Undoubtedly, laws are useful and beneficial to engineers as well as others. Minimum standards are ensured of professional conduct. Only when there is law, minimum standards will be followed. And the self-interested motive for most people. That means they get moral support. They also serve as powerful support and a defense for those who wish to act ethically. Definitely, those engineers who are ethical, definitely they get the support of law. And viewing engineering as social experimentation provides engineers with a better perspective on laws and regulations. Definitely. And precise rules and enforceable sanctions are appropriate in cases of ethical misconduct that involve violation of well-established and regularly re-examined procedures. And in areas of experimentation, rules must not attempt to cover all possible outcomes of an experiment. So it is an experimentation. Engineering is an experimentation, and all rules may not support total task, or nor must they force the engineer to adopt a rigidly specified course of action. Here, the regulation should be broad based guidelines but should not hold the engineer accountable for his or her decisions. There are certain problems in applying law in engineering. Great problem of law in engineering is of a minimal compliance. Engineers and employers can search for loopholes in the law to barely keep its letter while violating its spirit. So there is possibility that maybe engineer or employers follow the loopholes and make the task not ethical. Minimal complaints led to the tragedy of the Titanic. Continually updating laws and regulations may be counterproductive. So sometimes laws and acts are updated and it may also cause some disturbance. And many laws are non-laws, laws without enforceable sanctions. So they may not be enforceable. So in such case, nobody can go against the work. The opponents of the law may burden it intentionally with many unreasonable provisions. Highly powerful organizations like the government can violate the laws when they think they can get away with it by inviting would-be challengers to face them in lengthy and costly court proceedings. That means even government also sometimes may violate the rules. So this is about the third unit. Thank you.